Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Erin and today I am doing a chatty get ready with me using the Natasha Denona Golden Palette. I do dip into a few other Natasha Denona palettes to create this beautiful gold and teal look. In case you were missing the teals in the original gold palette, I show you some alternatives that might already be in your collection. I also use a lot of my project pen items, and I am trying Estee Lauder Double Wear for the very first time. So lots of demos and reviews of different products in this video. So if that seems interesting, then go ahead and stick around. Makeup Free Erin is coming at you right now. All right, everyone, hopefully all done up. Erin has done an intro to this video and let you guys know what I am doing with this Get Ready With Me. I have no topics to talk about apart from just trying on some makeup and doing some techniques on camera that I have talked to you guys about in the past. The other thing that we are doing is I have a bunch of my Natasha Denona palettes down here. So we're doing our main look with the Golden palette, but I do have Zendo, Yucca, and Metropolis here as well, because we're going to be looking at the teals in these palettes to see if that is something that can kind of make up for the teals that are missing from the Golden palette. But I only have my not my sunscreen. Well, I do have my sunscreen. I have my skincare on and I've had it on for a couple hours. So we are going to go in with primer and get everything set up. Now, you guys have known from past videos that I've had some issues with this primer not playing nice with my current foundation. So I've been using up my e.l.f. Jelly Pops, but I'm going to do half of my face with e.l.f. Jelly Pop, half of my face with the Hard Candy Sheer Envy Hydrating Makeup Grip Primer, and I'm going to test to see how these two primers do with the Estee Lauder Double Wear, which I am trying this for the first time. And the dogs are going to be, it is a Sunday. It's a Sunday today. My husband is training for a competition, so I think I'm able to drown out a lot of his noise that he's making in the garage, but he is dropping weights because he's doing deadlifts and farmer carries and all sorts of stuff like that. He does competitions, so he is training for one next weekend. So hopefully I can drain out a bunch of that. But let me go ahead and start putting on some primer. So I typically do 2 pumps of the Jelly Pop primer. So I'm only going to do 1 pump and put it on this side of my face. And like I said, my skincare has been on for over 2 or 3 hours. So it has had plenty of time to sink in. So we'll do 1 pump on that side, and then I'll go in with a little bit of the Hard Candy on the other side. Hopefully I will remember what side is what. So if the makeup ends up looking horrible, I can tell which primer I was using. But like I was saying, this is my first time ever trying the Estee Lauder Double Wear. I do like a more full coverage because of my redness and my acne spots. I will wear lighter coverage, but I prefer a more full coverage to even out my skin tone. I do have one of my DSMD Shop sponges that is wet. I was just wringing out the extra moisture. I have my little foundation palette that I use. I'm going to do this like I would normally do my foundation. So I have my e.l.f. Halo Glow. I'm going to do 2 dips in and put them on the palette because that is the amount that I typically do. So that is what we're looking like right there. And then I do have this in 1C0 Shell. This is going to be light. If I need to darken it up a little bit, then I will with my other e.l.f. Halo Glow. But I'm gonna do 2 pumps and use whatever I need. And if I don't need the rest of it, then I will use it tomorrow whenever I do my makeup. But we'll just go into 2 pumps on the palette. I like to keep my makeup relatively clean, so I do have a towel down here, and I always wipe off my the tips of my pumps just because I don't want my makeup to be dirty. So this is what we are looking like right now on the palette. I will mix these together, we'll get it on my face, and we will see what we're working with. Now, of course, I know that this is very high coverage and very high pigment, so that's what I have on my finger, and we are going to dot it around the face. And of course, I already have dog hair stuck in there. You guys have been so sweet with the comments and replies to me showing the puppy dog pictures in my deck of panning video, and I will try to take some more like pictures and video of them and let you guys see them more often. But whatever's remaining on my finger, I just wipe it on my sponge because we're not trying to be wasting our makeup, and we're gonna spread this out and see how much this covers. Like I said, it might be a little bit light, but I do go in with quite a bit of bronzing products, so I'm not worried about it. And of course, the e.l.f. Halo Glow that I mixed in with this one right off the bat, it is going to possibly sheer this out a little bit, but we will see what kind of coverage we get on this first pass. Now, I do like to do thin layers, so I like to build up my products and not necessarily go in with one thick layer right off the bat. But I am also a little bit self-tanned. I did self-tan, so I probably look a little bit more pale than I normally, or I look, the difference is more noticeable because I did self-tan my chest, but it is providing like a nice thin layer of coverage, and it's, I mean, you can still see my skin through it, but it's not sitting horribly on the skin. So I'm going to leave it at that with my first layer. If you guys have watched any of my Get Ready With Me's in the past, I do a thin layer of foundation and let that set down while I'm doing my eyes. So we will be going in and doing the eye look now. I do have my Florida cup representing the home state today. But my goodness, that is a stark... Okay, so I might need to deepen it up a little bit. I'm not worried about it today because, like I said, I do have my cream bronzer that I'm going to put on. But let me see, where is my eye primer? So currently right now I'm using the Milani and also the NYX Glitter Glue. And so we're going to get some eye primer put down. You guys are going to have to tell me, is Estee Lauder one of your, like, go-to foundations? You know, have you guys used up multiple bottles of it? I know it was really, really popular a couple years ago, and it's been a holy grail for people for a long, long time. So I'm just curious what you guys think of Double Wear, and kind of, is that your go-to? And of course, I dented my nail polish. I painted my nails over an hour ago, and I thought that they would be dry, but I've already dented it. Well, such is life. So I'm just going to set down my eye primer. Or if you guys have a different Holy Grail foundation, drop that down below too. Let me know what that is. I do have my two main foundations that I'm going to be using over the next couple months, but I am always open to trying new foundations. I feel like with having the skin issues that I do, which I know one of you said, you know, hey, you know, I know that you talk about your skin issues, but you know, some skin issues are worse than others, and none of this is about comparison. And I don't think that you meant that, and that's not how I took it. But I know that the lights wash out a lot. The camera doesn't always show everything up close. I'm not filming in natural light. So I think a lot of times maybe my skin issues don't show up as much, or depending on what time of the month I'm filming videos, it'll show up more than others. So again, none of this is about comparison. I know that there's people out there that have much worse issues with their skin, and all of my empathy and compassion goes out to them. But I can only talk about what my skin is going through and what I'm noticing with my skin. And so I always thank you guys for your kind comments and your support. And even sometimes the fact that you don't comment on my skin is also amazing. So I do have my palette up here. I am using my Singe brushes, and so if I can think about it, I'll maybe put the number of the brush that I'm using down there. And so I think I've already done my No Pan Left Behind on this palette, so I've already done a look. Hold on, let me mute my computer. I've already dipped into every single one of these shadows. I know I'm going to end up deepening up the outer V with that one, and I think I want to go onto the lid with Nibia. It is one of her really glittery shades, and maybe I'll start with Flesh, which again, I know some of these shade names, but I'm just taking the E05 and we're going to go in with Flesh, and I'm going to just get this in my crease. Now, the way that I like to do my eyeshadow is I like to define the actual crease first and then figure out how far up I want to go with it. So I am just taking Flesh from the inner corner all the way out. And what I'm also really, really cautious about is, and I'll try not to poke myself in the eye, but this area right in here, I try not to get too much shadow right here because this can really make your eyes sink in. It can really make it look like you have, I guess, more darkness and more like sunken in eyes. So I try to keep it more on the lid down here rather than up here on the actual crease. I actually take my highlighter up into that area to bring it forward rather than to set it back. But Flesh is actually doing really well. Now, of course, I have a fair to light skin tone, so people with different skin tones are going to have different experiences with these shades. I think next I'm going to go in with Teak, which is this one right here, and just put that in the outer crease to set up a little of that darkness and not necessarily go in with the darkest shade, which is Log. I don't want to go in with that one yet. But the other reason that I do my eyeshadow first is because I want to be a little bit more sloppy out here and then be able to create the shape that I want. And I remember seeing Tati do this years ago, and I was like, yes, that's how I'm doing my makeup from now on. It also allows me to be a little bit more messy underneath the lash line. And again, I clean that up with concealer, but we've already created a really nice shape and really nice definition in that crease with these shades. So, and yes, I blow on my palettes because they're mine. I know some people freak out when people blow on their palettes, but you know what? It is mine. So now I want to try to take a little bit higher up on my crease so that when my eyes are open, we see a little bit of that color. And so I'm just going to build that up. Now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to do the other eye because I feel like since my mirror is here, it's better for you guys to see what I'm doing on this eye. So let me get this eye to match up real quick and then I will be back. All right, so we got shadow on both eyes, and bless it, it just started thundering also, and Malcolm does not like thunder. So if you guys hear a little bit more click clacks, or if he comes in here and is like whining at me, it's because he is my baby that is scared of thunder. So I'm gonna go in with the darkest shade here, Log, and I've been using the same brush this entire time, so the E05, but Log is the deepest shade in this palette, and I just want to get that definition out here on the outer corner of the lid, and we're going to blend that all together. Oh, here comes Jane with his click clacks. He has a lot of trouble with me trimming his nails. His nails are relatively thick, so he actually whines a lot. Like, he's tolerant of me trimming his nails, but he does end up kind of letting me know that it hurts. But he also is 12 and a half years old, and he has arthritis, and he is allowed to tell me that he's hurting. I'm just going back in with Teak to kind of blend that edge. And right here, of course, I'm not worried about that because our shimmer is going to come up and meet that. So that does not need to be blended, just that outer part. And here's Log one more time to define this outer V here. But yes, thank you guys so much for appreciating my puppy dogs and also kind of like tolerating them in the background. But I will say that when I first was getting or, you know, looking at reviews for this palette, I think that people were talking about like the idea behind the original gold palette was not to use a whole lot of shades. It was to pick your combination of mattes and set up a good crease and a good, you know, definition, and then it's going in with one shimmer, putting it all over the lid. And so it's not about getting overly crazy with your looks. So I do have a little bit of my glitter glue. I put it between my fingers. We're going to put that on, and then we're going to put on our shimmer. Then I'm going to go into some of the teals and take a look at those and see if we want to put a pop of teal on this look. But I wanted to do a look all together with this palette before I go into others, just to show you that you can get a very beautiful look out of just this one palette. So like I said, we are going to go into Nubia, which is this one right up here. And we'll get that on the finger. I do like to go in with it on the finger first, and then I'll bring a brush in. So we're going to take that, and while our glitter glue is still tacky, we're going to get that on the lid. And I'm bringing it up over log because we can always redefine the darkness out there, but we want to have that good blend. And I actually don't mind taking a shimmer all the way out to my outer corner, but I'm still using the same brush. So you can even do an entire eye look with one brush, but I'm putting this into that shimmer shade and I'm getting into my inner corner because I do have a very small inner corner. So I'm just bringing that, and I like to kind of diffuse my sparkles, and so even if I'm getting a little bit on the brush, I like to run it along in the crease to kind of get some of that sparkle up into the crease, because the sparkle is going to get into the crease anyway. So if I can do it in an intentional way, then I have more control over it. So this is where we're at. I'm going to go back in with log and just redefine where log and Nubia meet. And I love Natasha Denona's like sparkle formula. She has some of these other formulas that are a little bit more like Varus and Arium. Probably pronouncing these completely wrong, but those two are a little bit more of a smooth formula. So is Oro. It's a little bit more of a smooth metallic formula. Now there is one cream to powder in here, which is the Panna shade, which is right here. There's some shades that I like from Natasha Denona that are cream to powders and others that I really don't care for. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the same brush. I'm just wiping it off on my towel here. And I'm going to go in with Flesh. And we're just going to put that on the lower lash line. I know some people don't do shadow on their lower lash line. I think for me, because I do have a lot of blueness in my under eyes, which now being addicted to K-dramas, I saw a like a meme that was like, oh, so you've discovered K-dramas? How is your sleep routine now? And it's horrible. It's horrible because I will stay up until 1 o'clock in the morning watching the next episode. And the episodes are like an hour and 15 minutes each. So I have been getting a little bit better and I have been going to sleep by about midnight now. But I still wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. What's up, bro? You can go lay in your bed. Oh, I know. I hope you guys heard that. But I'm trying to get better with my sleep routine. Now, this brush right here, this is just what I use to set down my eyelid primer with, so it just has a bone cream shade. And I'm just going to take that and run it really sloppily along the edges, and that helps kind of, again, blend and diffuse. We will go back in and blend and diffuse a little bit more when we get to the point of needing to put more makeup on, but like, I'm still a little bit tacky, but that foundation has very much dried down. But let me go through real quick and see what we have in. So in Zendo, we have this little corner over here. It has 2 cream to powders and then 2 metallics. And so let's see here. Those are the two cream to powders right there. I always feel like I look like Uncle Fester whenever I'm really pale with the eye makeup on. But those are the two shades in Zendo. You can hardly see Breath. It doesn't really show up. Is that Breath? Yeah, it's Breath because Breathe has an E at the end. But then we have the two shimmers. So we have Flow and Equilibrium. Flow and Equilibrium, which these are very... I would say I would look at Equilibrium more to be maybe the dupe for what was in the original gold. Let me build those up a little bit. And my husband's in the kitchen making himself something to eat. And we have thunder going even more. So lots of noise in the background. But those are our teals that we're looking at in the Zendo palette. The Zendo is not like a whole lot of people's favorites, but I do think that these two shimmer teals would look really, really good brought in with the golden palette. Let me see, while I'm talking about the teals, let me go into my Metropolis palette, and I want to swatch, let's see here, let's look at this one, and this one is Jubilee. That one would look beautiful with the gold palette. That's Jubilee over there. So that would look beautiful with the golds. Let's also do, is it Symbol? This is one of my favorite cream to powder teals to do like liner with right up here. It comes out stunning. Let's see here. This other one, there's Enigma and Aqueous. So Enigma is a darker blue cream to powder. And then is it Aqueous? Maybe I'm reading that wrong, but that is the shimmer. So even Aqueous, even though it is more blue, I feel like that would look really pretty with the golds as well. And then I'm backwards on my monitor. And then that right there is our Enigma shade. So lots of really amazing teal options in these two palettes as well. I also feel like if you're looking at the mini gold, Metropolis also has some of these army greens that would look really pretty with these, with the gold palette as well. So I think there's a lot of options still within Natasha Denona's, own catalog to bring in with these palettes. Now, let me go ahead and wipe this hand off, and then I'll go into Yucca, and I'll show you guys maybe some other greens, or maybe something that would be close to like the what was it, the Limechrome shade. Let me show you that. Is my hand stained a little bit blue? Maybe. But let's look at Yucca. And I think that Yucca and gold would look really, really good together. Let's look at these two side by side. I feel like you would be able to set up some really good neutral looks and then go in with some really good pops with this one. And these would be really good companion shades. Now, I know Yucca was just like on sale and deeply discounted, but let's see. I think Micaiah is kind of the closest that you would end up seeing to a Limechrome. And just look at that shade. Let's put it, that is absolutely stunning. And I think that since I have the golden look done, I might go in with this Micaiah and put it on the inner corner. But the other one is Karambi. That one is a little bit more gold, but just look at the shimmer and the impact on these. Let's put that right next to it. No, that one still leans more gold than green, but still really good options to bring in. Then the other shimmer in here would be Ray, but this one is one of her regular shimmer shades, so it's not going to have the same amount of impact. So Ray is all the way over here. And that's the nail that I dented, of course, the one that I'm pointing with, but Ray is not as impactful. So I would really look at Micaiah or Maki. I see it says Kia. at the end of it, but I'm pretty sure it would be Micaiah, is that one right there. So I think I'm going to have that on my inner corner with my golden look as we go further along. But I just kind of wanted to show you that within your, and I'm using glasses cleaner to clean my hand, within our own collections, like, I do feel like I missed out on the gold palette, and I'm sorry that I never got it. But on the other side of it, I feel like we do already have a lot of other things in our collections that we can make things look very similar. And I had showed you guys, what was it? Is it Mycelium is the shade from Lethal? Again, I'll put it down here because I showed it in a past video. But there is a shade from Lethal that is pretty much a dead-on for the Limechrome shade. So I feel like we're not missing out. You probably have it somewhere in your collection. So while I was disappointed that this was so monochromatic, I think that this is a good foundation palette where you can build up a really good look and then add your own pop to it. Bring in your single shadows, bring in your indie shades, bring in that pop of color somewhere, and I don't think that you'll be disappointed. But while my husband was getting lunch, I shut my door. So let me open my door again because the puppy dogs are going to be worried about me. So let me open my door again, and then we will go in to putting on the rest of the face, and we'll see what we can come up with. So at this stage, I usually go in with my second layer of foundation. So I still have a little bit left on my palette here, so we'll pick that up and we'll try to build up some more coverage where I have a little bit more spots and discoloration. This is actually going on thinner than I thought it would. I thought that this would be a little bit thicker and more cakey, and actually the Juvia's Place foundation that I'm using right now, it is quite thick. So when you put it on, you feel like you're putting on a thick foundation. This actually feels very lightweight, so I'm very surprised by that. But we're going to go in with concealer. This is not the Natasha Denona concealer. This is a concealer from Bobbi Brown, but I decanted it into this concealer packaging because I hated the doe foot on the Bobbi Brown one. So we are going to put, and when I put my concealer out here, this is how I'm going to create or correct that shape that I want. And I'll put a little bit more coverage on my cheeks where I have my spots, and we'll go ahead and blend that out. But this afternoon, we are going to go to a movie. My husband just basically said, hey, be ready by 3:15 because we're going. But we're going to go see Twister. Not necessarily a movie that I would be gung-ho about seeing, but I have not been to a movie with my husband in a very long time. So I figured it would be nice for us to go and see a movie together. I love the DSMD Shop sponge because on this rounded side, apart from the dog hair, I can get this really fine point, and that is how I'm creating that shape on the outside of my eye look. So I'm not, again, like, my face is very pale right now. I am scaring myself as I am looking into the viewfinder, but I feel like it's looking worse on the side that has the hard candy primer. So I'll probably try it a few more times, but I'm pretty sure this primer is going to have to be a declutter because I cannot have my foundation looking like, it almost looks like it like clings together and pills together, and I can't do that all the time. So we have our concealer on. I'm going to go in with my cream bronzer. I did decant my Soul Body bronzer into an e.l.f. compact, so we're just going to go in with our sponge and we'll put some bronzer on and hopefully liven up my face a little bit so I don't look like Uncle Fester. But yes, so we're going to go see a movie. I am most looking forward to popcorn. That is my favorite part about going to the movies, is getting delicious movie theater popcorn. You know, if anybody works at a movie theater and has horror stories about the popcorn, I don't want to hear it. Don't ruin it for me. I want to live in blissful ignorance about the delicious popcorn that I get at the movie theater. Okay, now I have color back into my face. I feel better now. But he basically said, "Oh, Glenn Powell is in it, so you know you can go see it with me." He says you're man. Apparently, I have lots of men, and he goes, "Oh, he takes his shirt off," and I was like, "Okay, I'm in. I'll go." But for my blush, I am going to use my Marc Jacobs lipstick and the Say Super Glowy Gel. I've been talking to you guys about how I mix these together, and I am creating a glowy cream blush, and I'm loving it. So I take my lipstick and we put it on my hand, and I do a healthy dose of it, and that's what's helping me get through this lipstick. So we have a good bit of lipstick, and I'm doing the 2 pumps of the Say Super Glowy Gel, and we just mix them together, and I really try to push the gel into the lipstick to get the colors to meld together, and we end up with something that looks like that. And so let me mix that together a little bit more. We go onto the cheeks with it, which that looks scary, but trust the process. The glowy gel really does help to kind of bring down that color and blend it out. Plus, I really like a blushy look, so this does not scare me. But I am tamping all of that in, and look at that. Perfect blushy cheek that looks hydrated and dewy. Love it. So we'll do our other side, get ourselves matching, and I'm just picking up from my hand into the sponge. The sponge also does help kind of sheer it out. Now, the way that I like to do, I still like to bring all of my blush up this way. I also sometimes will put a little blush on the top of my head, because if I was to sunburn, that's where I would sunburn. And for some reason, I've been putting a tiny bit of my blush right under my chin. Just what I like. Sometimes I'll do a little bit on the bridge of my nose. And again, it looks scary now, but we will blend all of this out. We will put powder on. So this will not be as pigmented as we are looking at right now. But I just want to blush up everything. I also like to connect my eye look to my blush. So I typically take my blush right up into that outer V and like press it into this outside of my socket and like through the tail of my brow. That's pretty much all we have left. So I used pretty much everything that I put on my hand. So let me wipe my hand up before it gets everywhere. And this is what we're looking like right now. I'll take the back of my sponge that I used for my concealer and my foundation, and I just go around the edges. So everywhere that I had my blush, my bronzer, I kind of tamp around the edges, and I am blending everything together so we don't have any of those harsh lines. We just have beautiful color. Now I do my brows at this point because, let me get my brow pencil. I do my brows because whenever I am brushing up with my spoolie, if I had powdered my face already, I would be putting scrape marks into my base, and that is not pretty, and it's hard to fix once you have powdered down. So I typically will do my brows now so that if I need to kind of tamp down some of the foundation again, I can do it while everything is still in its liquid form before it sets down. But look at the big difference between putting a little bit of brow product into my eyebrows. We can see the difference between what my natural hair color looks like versus what I dye my hair darker to. And then this is just the sharpenable pencil from Benefit, and it's in 3.75. I wanted something that was a little bit more, not necessarily warm tone, but had some red to it. And so this is the one that I ended up picking up because since even I made a little bit of a boo-boo out here, so I can just use my finger to blend that away because I have not powdered yet. So do your brows before you powder down your face, because if you have to fix anything around your brows, easier to do it now. All right, brows are on. They're looking a little intense, but again, trust the process. Once the rest of the face is on, we will look a little bit better. At this point too, I will go in with my corrector. I told you guys that I typically do my corrector last, that I don't put my corrector underneath my concealers. I want my corrector to show through the most. So I just put a little bit on that very inner part of my lid. It also allows me to correct underneath my eyes where I have brought that blush up, and it allows me to go down the sides of my nose, because I do like the sun-kissed look of having a little bit of blush on my nose, but I don't want like the W that connects all of it. So I am able to kind of control that blushy spot on my nose a little bit as well. So this is what our cream base is looking like, and I'm happy with it. Again, the side with the e.l.f. primer looks a little bit better than the side with the, this side with the hard candy primer does not look that good. It's cracking and it's splitting up. I don't know. And I think also the fact that I did my skincare so long ago, and I'm used to doing my makeup right after my skincare, where my skin has a little bit more hydration like on the surface and it mixes with everything. I'm gonna have to see what I think about this. And I was chatting with Andy about repurchasing the Misha BB cream after I finish my other one, and it might just be where I need to repurchase the Misha and mix it with the Estee Lauder so that I bring a little bit more hydration back to this. But again, I live in a hot climate, so I'm wondering what this will look like when my oils come through. So let me get a sip of coffee and we will powder down, and then we will move on to our other steps. Jane is dreaming over there. I know. Big boy is dreaming. So I have two, y'all will just hear doggy dreams in the background. We have two of my Nakia Joy Cosmetics powders. I have my brightening one and my regular one. So we were going to put the brightening one underneath the eyes. It's a little bit more of a pinky powder. So we'll go ahead and tap out any of those creases. I have a little triangle puff, and we'll go in. And sometimes powder can save a foundation as well. And I've figured that I like to powder the whole center of my face with the brightening powder, just because, again, it brings this part of my face forward, which is kind of what I'm wanting with, and every time am I shaking my camera every time that I'm tapping into my powder? Probably. Probably. He is just over there dreaming away. Do we ever wonder what our dogs dream about? Like, I know there's been studies where like the dogs will actually dream about their human, which again is adorable. But sometimes I'm like, are they dreaming about like chasing squirrels? I'm going in with my regular powder now on a more fluffy brush. I used to do my powder where I would either pack it on with a puff or a sponge. And I'm trying to do a little bit lighter of a powder like application and look, just because I'm getting older. I do have texture, and as much as powder helps, sometimes at the middle part of the day you can see the powder had kind of dried down with the other products. If you know, you know what it looks like if you have too much powder on. So I've been trying to do my powder with a duo fiber brush rather than packing it on with a sponge. And so we'll do, since I did put cream products on my neck, I'll do underneath my neck, and we are powdered. So out of the 2 pumps that I used of the Estee Lauder, that is how much is left on my palette. So it's a decent amount that's left, but for this intents and purposes, I'm not going to save it. Typically, I do save my remaining foundation and I'll use it the next day, but I'm not going to do that today because I don't necessarily need to. I have my other 2 foundations that I'm trying to finish up. But looking, okay, so the e.l.f. side does look better in the close-up than the hard candy side. Everything over here looks like it's gathering a little bit more. It looks a little bit more cakey on this side, especially around my nose. It's already starting to crack around here. So maybe I am a hydrating foundation type of girly, but again, when we get everything done, it looks really smooth on camera. It's a good camera foundation. I'm going to go in with my bronzer. But I don't know. I think I'm going to have to play around with the Estee Lauder a little bit more and kind of see if mixing it with some things will make me like it a little bit better. But this is purely a first impression. This is me trying it out for the very first time. But going in with the Juvia's Place bronzer, and we're going to do all the way down the neck so that hopefully my face will match my self-tanned chest. A little bit down the sides of the nose. I've never done like a pure contour, but I do try to stick to the parts of my face that I am knocking everything. I am sorry if the footage is wobbly, but I try to bring a little bit more shape back to my face. And like I said, the shade of the foundation is not horrible now that I have brought, you know, color back into my face. So let's go into my blush. I am going to use the Ofra Chick Lit blush that's in my project pan, and this is very pigmented. So I think that I've showed you guys before that I go into the product, it kicks up quite a bit, then I go into the lid and I really press that pigment into the brush. So when I go in, I'm not just stamping like the pigment onto my face, it's actually in the bristles. But that is so pretty. I can't deny that this is a gorgeous, gorgeous shade. All right, hair, you're coming out of your little turban here. Let me get the hair back in before it totally makes me lose my mind. But while I'm putting on blush, how are you guys? Tell me how you're doing. I know we chat a lot in the comments of my videos, and I absolutely love that. And those of you that have also, you know, DM'd me on Instagram, you know, I love our conversations. You guys have also sent me pictures of your animals, which is awesome. I love seeing all the puppies and kitties out there. So I absolutely love the community that we've been able to make here on my channel. It is so much fun to have all of you guys. And again, I feel like I'm just sitting down with friends and chatting about makeup and just checking in with each other too. And, you know, rooting for each other, being each other's cheerleaders. I love it all. But I just took the brush that I used for my powder and I kind of, again, went around my edges to blend out my blush. So let me, actually, I did not bring my setting spray up here with me, so let me grab my setting spray. All right, we're going to douse my face. And this is what I expect to save my makeup, is the setting spray. So let's see if we can get those powders tamped down and a little bit of that cakiness, because it looked cakey before I put on powder. And that's the part of, again, I know double wear is supposed to be ironclad and wear forever, but if it doesn't look good while you're wearing it, then kind of what's the point? That's maybe a little bit better. I'm going to put a little bit of the e.l.f. Wow Brow in my brows just to add. I tinted the skin with the pencil, and then now I tint the hairs. Again, since my natural hair color is lighter than the color that I dye my hair, sometimes it can look a little awkward to have blonde eyebrow hairs sticking out everywhere. So we're going to do a little bit of our Wow Brow. Okay, at this point, let's touch up the eyes and get the eyes where we want them to be. So I'm actually going to take Zendo and Metropolis, since I'm going to do a teal liner with Metropolis, so we'll do that. But I'm going to take Zendo and I'm going to put Zendo back there. And I don't think I need to touch up a whole bunch with the Golden Palette, but I'm just going to go in and redefine the outer V a little bit. So I'm going to go in with the E04. I'm going to go back into Teak. Yes. And we're going to put that back on that lower lash line, because when we did that concealer, we lost a little bit of that definition. So we're just going to bring it back. I'm going to take a little bit of flesh and just back underneath the eyes. I think too, if you're bringing your eyeshadow down from your lower lash line a little bit too, you're camouflaging some of the like lines and wrinkles underneath your eyes. So that's also why I do it, because I have not found anything that like every single concealer is going to crease in my fine lines. I'm a human and I have a lot of facial expressions, so I'm going to have lines. But if I can camouflage them a little bit, then I'm okay with that as well. But like I said, I'm going to go back into the Yucca palette, and let's see here. I think I am just going to use the E05. I really love this tiny detailed brush, and I'm going to go into the Micaiah shade, and we are going to see how this changes the look. Let me get close, but let's see when we put this on. Oh, that just brings so much sparkle and dimension to the look. It's almost like Micaiah needed to be in the gold palette. And as much as I like to depot and like rearrange some, I don't know if I want to rearrange my Natasha Denona palettes, because I don't know if I'm that adventurous. But I'm taking Micaiah also up into the crease a little bit, because again, I like when my inner corner shade goes up a little bit over here, so that, again, that's just how I like it. I feel like it gives a little peak before you see the actual sparkle on the lid. So that is a beautiful complement to this palette. I don't know if you guys, what you guys can actually see on camera versus what I'm seeing in my viewfinder, but I'm going to go back into the Metropolis palette, and I'm going to go into, let's go into, because I know there's Royal, which is the green, which I don't know if we swatched that one. Should we go in with the green? I'm kind of feeling more the teal. Even though we put Micaiah and the green, I kind of feel like the teal is going to be a little bit better of a pop. So let me wipe those off real quick. They've already stained. But let me go in with a liner brush, and I'm going to get real close. But we're going to go in with Symbol, which is that teal color, and I'm just going to press that at the lash line. So this is what I love the cream to powder shades for. I think this is where they shine, of being able to just sit down on the lid with that color impact. I really like that. And I think I brought my Urban Decay liner in Overdrive out. So I think I'm going to put that in my tight line real quick, so that we have a nice teal that goes from the lash line into the waterline. And that, I feel, just makes my bluish green eyes pop even more when I bring that teal in. And I think that's why I miss the teal so much whenever she came out with the mid-size ones, is because I know that teal looks beautiful on, again, my color eyes. If you have brown eyes, how does teal look on you? You guys tell me, how does it end up looking on you? I'm very curious what you guys think of like these color combinations. I know people with a lot of like yellow undertones on their skin, they don't necessarily like a whole lot of golds, because it almost is, it doesn't clash, but it's almost like too same maybe. You guys tell me, if you have yellow undertones, like what is it about golds do you feel like it doesn't work for you? But I know there's color theory in there somewhere. But I have my highlighting palette, so we're going to go ahead and put our highlighter on, put a little bit in the inner corner. And again, what I do is I bring this highlight shade into this little part of my eye right there. because I'm trying to bring that forward and not set it back. And I still am a brow bone highlight person. I know sometimes people don't like it or they say it's out of style now. I am still an under the brow bone highlight gal. So we're gonna go ahead and do our brush. Even though our cheeks are pretty sparkly right now, I'm still gonna put a little bit more on because why not? And as a little bonus, I just hit pan. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it in there, but there is a tiny, tiny pan in this one. So now we have pan in this one, pan in this one. I repressed this one, but it had pan. So I just need to hit pan in this one. Yay for me. But now we have our highlight on. I'm going to set down my brows. I'm going to put on some mascara, then we'll put on a little bit of a lip. All right, so I have my mascara on, I set my brows down. I do have my lip liner on, but I have not put on my lip product yet. And so I think that this came out really beautiful. I love that pop of teal. I mean, again, like, I'm not one to necessarily line my entire eyes, but I feel like having that dark teal above the lash line and then the teal in the tight line, it really intensifies the eyes and the look. I am loving it. But I'm going to put the Marc Jacobs lipstick on as well because it'll match, not match the cheeks, but it matches what was underneath. And then to top it all off, I have my Lawless Forget the Filler gloss. And that is the final look. Let me go ahead and get my hair down, put on a different shirt, and I will come back with my final thoughts. All right, so final thoughts. I would say I'm going to have to try double wear a couple more times, and looking in my mirror, let me turn my light back on my mirror. Now this is 5 times magnification, so I am seeing everything up close and personal, including that crazy brow hair. But it looks good from a distance. And I don't know if there's any like foundation that necessarily looks good up close. If you have texture, if you have wrinkles, I have wrinkles that my foundation, like my smile lines, foundation settles into those, and it doesn't matter what foundation it is, they all settle into those because I have cheeks and my face moves. So I think I will just have to see how it wears. Again, I like it better with the e.l.f. Jelly Pop Primer side rather than the hard candy. I'll try it a few more times, but I really feel like this hard candy is going to need to be a declutter for the year. It is just not working with any of the foundations that I am using, and I can't keep having it hang around, that is for sure. But I really do love the Natasha Denona Golden Palette. I love the looks that I've been able to get from this palette, and the formula and it is consistent with what we would expect from Natasha Denona. The mattes in here are beautiful. They blend so easily. You guys saw how quick it was to even set flesh up in my crease, how easily that like built up in the pigment and it blended out, and we created this really beautiful blend with 3 matte shades and 2 shimmer shades. I think we did pretty dang good. I also hope that you guys enjoyed watching me use my lipstick as a cream blush and how I'm using my Say Super Glowy Gel and just how overall I do my makeup for the day. I should have said this in the beginning, but if you're new, I'm almost 40 years old. I have oily skin. I live in Florida, so it's hot and humid. So when I'm putting on my powders, when I'm looking for a more matte look, it is because of the climate in which I live in. But overall, I am satisfied with the way my makeup looks today. And also, the Metropolis palette did just roll into my deck of panning, as I have a dog hair like always. So I'm very excited about getting more use out of this one. One of you guys left a comment that you want to see more looks from Metropolis, and I actually have been doing really well with taking pictures every day of my looks, and so you guys will definitely be able to see a lot of looks come out of Metropolis next month whenever I do my Project 10 uses and my No Pan Left Behind update, and I show you guys all the looks that I did that month. But overall, like I said, I'm okay with this. I'm okay with the look. Lots more testing to do on that foundation to see what I think of it. I'm already thinking about doing another Get Ready With Me, and I kind of want to just chat about K-dramas. I know I've been talking about it a lot, but I have kind of immersed myself into watching K-dramas, and then like I look up some of the cultural things that they're doing in the shows, and I do a little bit of research, and because of the algorithm, a bunch of like Korean street interviews have been popping up on my Facebook and on my Instagram. So like I'm kind of learning a lot about it, and maybe where some of the things from the dramas contradict how things actually are over in Korea, which I know of course we romanticize a lot of those things. But I want to do a Get Ready With Me where I just kind of spew nonsense about K-dramas. Let me know what palette or what eyeshadow look would you want me to do if I do a video where I'm just spewing nonsense. Like, I'm sure it'd be a good video just to put on while you're getting ready for the day, but let me know what palette. If you guys do want a look with the Metropolis palette, let me know and I'll do another Get Ready With Me with that palette. But definitely drop your suggestions and recommendations down below. If you also have other recommendations for K-dramas, drop those down below too. I have about, okay, so the K-dramas are usually about 16 episodes and they're over an hour per episode, and I can typically make it through an entire drama in about 3 or 4 days, if that's letting you know how many episodes I watch per day. So I'm getting through my wish list and like my watch list relatively quickly, so drop some recommendations down below for me as well. I'm very much enjoying watching the Korean dramas. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I'm going to eat some lunch, and then we are going to head off to the movies to see the new Twister movie with Glenn Powell, and so I will be sitting there eating my popcorn, drooling over that man. So I'm going to have a great afternoon. But I'm going to encourage you guys to do all the things. Make sure to hit a thumbs up on this video. Let me know that you guys are still enjoying my content. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to reach 2,000 subscribers by my birthday in September, and we have a little bit. I think I'll push it to the end of September because we still need about 100 subscribers to get to that point. So we have 2 months to reach that goal. I'm very, very hopeful to reach that goal, and you guys are rocking it by helping me reach that goal. So if you are just watching or lurking or you just found me, hit that subscribe button. It is free for you and helps support my channel and get my channel out to more people that may be interested in project panning, makeup, conscious consumerism, puppy dogs, psychobabbles, babbles about K-dramas, who knows. But if that seems interesting to you or you just like having me on in the background, make sure to hit that subscribe button and stick around for more content. I'm going to try to get this video up before my Project 10 uses, so I'll see what I can do about that. If not, it'll go up after that one. But this is my bonus video for the month. But I do appreciate each and every one of you. Make sure to drop that comment down below. Let me know how you guys are doing. Give me your recommendations, what palette you want me to use in my next Get Ready With Me. You guys help me decide, but I do appreciate all of you guys being here with me today, and I wish everybody a beautiful day, and I'll catch you in my next one.